Is divorce on the cards for Harry and Meghan? It absolutely is. And there are so many telltale signs. They just released a video a couple of days ago. It's their first appearance together in months. And let's just say that they look rigid and cardboard together. Let's take a look at the video.
Here we are. We are at a crossroads where the urgency to reassess and redefine our approach to protecting children has become increasingly evident. While the necessity has always been apparent, it is now time to translate that awareness into meaningful action. So we thank you all for your attention to this critical issue.
My husband and I recognize today's reality is marked by greater connectivity and advanced technology, which of course has many positives, but which also compels us to better understand how digital violence against children.
That literally looks like they're being held hostage with a gun behind the camera shooting that video. They could easily stage a paparazzi shot if they wanted to be seen together and wanted to quash the rumors that they're getting a divorce. But no, they haven't been doing any of that. And it's very, very suspicious. Of course, they've divorced in a business sense. They've basically gone their separate ways. Meghan with American Riviera Orchard, Harry with his weird Polo Netflix documentary that he's not even really going to be in if reports are to be believed. Tina Brown released in her Substack today that she thinks that Harry and Meghan need to go back to the royal family and help it. Basically a cry for rapprochement after she, kind of destroyed Meghan in a podcast episode where she said that Meghan was useless at everything. There's something to be said within what Tina Brown was saying. Essentially, the royal family is not what it used to be. We've got Charles, who has cancer. We have Kate, who also has cancer. William is basically in the most slimmed down monarchy we've ever seen in the history of the monarchy. And I do think this would be the time for the Sussexes to enter back into the fold. The issue is that I don't think Meghan is part of that plan. I think that they would welcome Harry with open arms. Harry will always be grandson of the Queen. He will never not be that. And I think that, blood is thicker than water. But Meghan is really the one who has burnt all the bridges in their relationship. And I don't think she's going to be welcomed back into the royal family. And I don't think she ever wants to go back to the royal family. We forget that, being treated like Hollywood royalty is actually much better if you're an American and you're used to that lifestyle than British monarchy. British monarchy is service. It's boots on the ground. It's going to a random hospital in the middle of nowhere and cutting a ribbon at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. It's not what she's doing in Montecito, which is basically heading down to the beach, wine nights with friends, Napa Valley this, prancing around in her, had $120,000 worth of jewelry on her wrist. Now, that's not something that you get to do in the royal family. Everything kind of has to be approved by, multiple levels of PR, multiple levels of household staff. I think it's really interesting because that's absolutely not the life that Meghan ever envisioned for herself. Absolutely not what she wants. So I don't think she's going to be entering back into the fold, but if divorce is on the cards for Harry, which it really looks like it is, then we will definitely see a potential entry back into the royal family because I don't think he can stay away for long. I think it's really hard. I always see him, and I've said this on What Just Happened as well, is that he reads as sort of like this perfectly bred racehorse that is really good at doing what he's been trained to do, what he's been brought up to do, but not great at doing anything else. And I think we've seen that. I think I'll show a clip now of him just sort of aimlessly learning how to surf 4 hours from his home in Montecito. Now, no one goes and drives 4 hours for a lesson by themselves unless there are issues in their marriage. I think that he's not spending any time with Meghan. It's an absolute cry for help. And it looks like the relationship is really on the rocks. It seems like Harry has been fine with returning back to England. He's been back and forth multiple times, be it that he still definitely has a tarnished relationship with his father. They don't really meet. And if they do, it's for a couple of minutes in a kind of very controlled environment and then right back to LA and then off to Charles's other appearance because he is really a workaholic. What Tina Brown is saying is completely right. So many royal tours that need to be done. There's the whole Commonwealth that almost needs to be serviced by these guys. And they don't really have any royals that can go and represent them. Harry and Meghan really fill that slot perfectly. Even though people hate them, I think that Harry could definitely enter back in. Meghan, not so much. The Queen very famously said, you can either have it one way or the other. You cannot be half in, half out royals. You cannot be, as I've always said, millennial royals, where they want, the esteem and the class of being in the royal family, but they don't want the working hours of what it is to be a working royal. They don't want to have to do the really hard slog of months and months and months on the road. They'll want to do 3-day trips to Nigeria, 2-day stint to Jamaica, and so on and so forth. I think it's going to be really interesting as to how they would enter back in. Harry would be fine with it, I'm sure. The Queen was always the one who had an issue with them doing this half in, half out thing. Let's see if Charles has a bit of a different position. I know that all he wants is for his family to be back together, for them to be unified, for there to be some sort of closure within the royal family, with the brothers before he passes away. He has literally said, boys, don't make my last years hell. What have they gone and done? Of course they have. They've gone and basically destroyed all relationships very publicly and had huge disagreements, basically back and forth, using the press as their communicator. We'll see what happens there, but I think that Charles will be a little bit more easy on Harry if he does want to enter back into the royal family. After all, it is his son who he cares about so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.